Hello, dear all. Today our topic is drug regulatory affairs. Myself, Mr. Namdeo Shinde, Assistant Professor, Department of Pharmaceutics, Satara College of Pharmacy, Degaon, Satara. Our topic of discussion is drug regulatory affairs. Today we will see different subtopics under this chapter, that is product information management, product registration tracking, dossier management, labeling operations, submission planning tracking, regulatory archiving, health authority interactions, regulatory intelligence, change control and product release, submission document management, product information management. So today we will discuss all these things in detail. Before this, we have some learning objectives like what is meant by regulatory affairs. We will see today role of regulatory affair expert in pharmaceuticals. Then what is meant by dossier, what is meant by CTD, ECTD, DMF, NDA, ANDA, INDA. Role of regulatory affair expert. And last we'll see the regulatory bodies working in pharmaceutical sector. In introduction part, what actually the regulatory affairs means. So it is a dynamic and challenging field in pharmaceutical industry. In short, we can say it is an affair between competent authority and applicant company to manage product life cycle. So here, competent authority, that means we have different regulatory authorities working globally, and the applicant company means the actual company who is manufacturing the products. So that is simply a drug regulatory affairs is. It is developed to protect public health by controlling safety and efficacy of the product in pharmaceuticals as well as cosmeceuticals, veterinary medicines, medical devices, and agrochemicals. In present regulatory to manage the product life cycle. So, in case of pharmaceutical, also we require expert persons do to deal with different products with regulatory bodies. Regulatory affair experts are the qualified professionals. These are legal advisors to provide right solution to the technical problems under the light of laws and regulations. So these are technical advisors. These are qualified professional and mainly helps the pharmaceutical companies for advising right solution to the technical problem with the light of laws and regulations. Here in this image we can see the regulatory expert is at central place. He knows legislation, he knows management, he knows science, and he knows how to go for commercialization of different products. So in short we can say he is an expert. He can deal with science, legislation, management, and commercialization aspect easily, and he can file different products to the regulatory authorities. He can deal with regulatory authorities from different pharmaceutical companies. So we can say it is an expert. Regulatory affairs plays crucial role in pharmaceutical industry, and it is involved in all stages of drug development and also after drug approval and marketing. So all stages of drug development, in the sense starting from drug discovery to the post marketing, in each and every stage regulatory affair expert plays an important role for filing different reports to the regulatory authorities, getting approvals and all. Regulatory affair expert is important. Pharmaceutical industries use all data from drug discovery to the development stages in order to register drug and market. Pharmaceutical companies has to abide by array of strict rules and regulations, guidelines in order to ensure safety and efficacy of drugs in human. We know that being a pharmaceutical person, we are dealing with life of humans, life of peoples. So we should ensure the safety and efficacy of drug that is used by humans. So regulatory affair expert dealing with all the details so that the product will be in market with smoothly process. Regulatory affair expert keep track of the ever-changing legislation in all regions in which company wishes to distribute its product. That means it is an continuous process. Continuously legislations are changing. So as per requirement, everything is changing. So this RA expert will continue watch on all these changes and will implement the documentation as per need. They also advise on legal and scientific restraints and requirements and collect and evaluate the scientific data their research and development colleagues are generating. So that means they are helping for the pharmaceutical industries on collating, evaluating the data related with product or product life cycle. Presentation of registration document to regulatory agencies and carry out all the subsequent negotiations necessary to obtain and maintain marketing authorization for product concern. So that is work of regulatory affair expert. So it comes under RA expert responsibilities. Strategic and technical advice. This is our important thing because this is the important work for RA officers at highest level in their companies, right from the beginning of development of the product, making an important contribution both commercially as well as scientifically to success the development program and company as a whole. The next part is regulatory landscape and product development. That is from the stage of research and development. The regulatory strategy and the development plan are evolving documents. They should be reviewed and updated on regular basis during the product development process, like GMP, CGMP guidelines. So there is continuous advancement, and with this advancement, we need to update. Okay, we need to update documentation, we need to update SOPs, we need to update various management systems. That is what CGMP, GMP. Like this, here in case of regulatory affairs also, we have changes in legislation. As per changes, we need to update our products. That comes under regulatory landscape. So firstly, we have to start with properly classifying our healthcare products. So we can classify that products into drugs, biologicals, medical devices, or combination products, so that we can have a specific regulatory path to process. If we have doubt which type of product we need to classify under which type of category, in that case, if we have doubt, we can approach the regulatory bodies to confirm the product type. So it is most important thing, because once we classify the product as per categories, then we can easily go further, because specifications are different for different classes. Then identify the claim of your healthcare product so that you know what type of studies to conduct to support the claim and your product label. Or if there is need, we can change the claim. So here, this is second step. What we have to identify the claims. For what purpose we are claiming that particular product, so that regulatory affair expert will do his work accordingly. May change the medical device classification, which can lead to different regulatory oversight. So that is most important thing that we have already discussed in step 1, that if You have classified that particular product in specific class, then and then only you can go accordingly, because there is specific or different regulatory oversight. That means regulatory requirements are different for different class of products. So as per need, we need to identify the class and go accordingly. Then step 3 is determine your healthcare market. This will guide you to requirement that are specific to each jurisdiction. It is important to identify jurisdiction specific requirement upfront so that they can be included early in the product development plan. So that is actual work of RA officer. So he will check, he will have all the knowledge related with laws and regulations so that he can implement all each and every step during product life cycle. The next step is develop your regulatory strategy by identifying the specific regulatory requirement as well as possible pathways to take. A thorough understanding of this requirement will guide the development of your regulatory strategy. That means from the starting point, from the discovery phase, we need to have development of different reports. We need to get approval from different regulatory agencies. In that case, RA officer will get all that data, will get all the study material, or will get all the study reports from different manufacturing or study sites, and will convey to the regulatory agencies. He will get approval, and then the company can go for further studies. These are some areas where regulatory compliance is required. New product development, that means from the discovery point of view to the new product manufacturing and market stage, we need to have a regulatory compliance with respect to human study, with respect to non-clinical studies. We should have every stage approval so that we can go safely for manufacturing of that particular new product. Program management, pilot volume manufacturing. So here we have already seen that what is meant by pilot plant scale up, what type of studies, what type of criteria are studied, considered during that manufacturing stage. Then clean room manufacturing, clean room classification and all. We need to have compliance, regulatory compliance with all this. Precision injection molding. These are some examples. High speed automated assembly, industrialization and scale up. Scale up in the sense we can scale up the specific formula from R&D to pilot scale to commercial scale production. Key account management, supply waste management, continuous improvement. That is most important thing in pharmaceutical. Continuous improvement. With all this is very important. So RA expert will have look on each and every topic, and accordingly he will go for documentation. He will deal with regulatory bodies with respect to this. The next step is establish a healthcare product development plan so that product requirement can be translated into an action. So product development plan should be established. Who does what and by when and for how much? So that can be easily recognized by this establishment stage. Such plans should be established collaboratively with input from different functional groups. It should include key milestones, critical paths, and periodic reviews for go and no-go decisions, and be updated periodically. So that is most important thing. We should have a healthcare product development plan, how we are going. And once we said the things, how we are going, we can structure the approach. And by this way, we can go smoothly. At one stage, we can think whether to proceed or not. It is also important because If the results are okay, then we can go. If results are not okay, if it is time consuming, it is of no use, in that case, we can stop that particular project. So that is also most important thing. We should have specific product development plan. So that is fifth step. Next step is execute the product development plan. So whatever we have decided, we need to execute that. It is subject matter expert who possesses knowledge of the investigation product who must carry out the corresponding manufacturing, quality, regulatory, non-clinical, clinical programs, as well as in coordination with third parties. So this is a continuous process. Execution of plan. Whatever we have decided, we need to execute that. And in this case, we can go for different manufacturing studies, quality, parameter evaluations, regulatory aspects, clinical, non-clinical studies, or third-party evaluation also. We can deal here. So that is what a programmed approach is. Then execute the clinical plan. Clinical means once we got a approval from regulatory authorities to go for clinical study, in that case, we need to start. If the clinical program is required in support to the licensing application, these studies should be conducted according to good clinical practices. So here in case of manufacturing, we have good manufacturing practices. We have different guidelines. We need to follow that guidelines and continue the work in pharmaceutical industry. Here, good clinical practices in the sense, during clinical evaluation, during clinical studies, we need to follow that practices. That means we have some regulation to follow that during the study. Country-specific requirement such as ethics approval and necessary regulatory approvals for conducting the clinical trials. Often it helps to have pre-submission meeting with the regulatory agency prior to submitting a clinical trial application in order to address specific. So that is most important because we are doing clinical studies. We are checking what type of regulatory requirements are there, and as per regulatory requirement, we are doing the studies. Sometimes we need to have some meetings with regulatory agencies, then collect your data for regulatory submissions. Once we finish the clinical studies, then we need to develop a documentation. Okay, during study, actually it is continuous process. Documentation is continuous process, but once we finish the clinical data, clinical studies, then RA officer, RA expert will go for documentation, go for report writing, and then he will submit to the regulatory agencies. Once the data from product design and manufacturing, quality, non-clinical and clinical programs are available, this data and report should be collected for inclusion in the regulatory submission. Then RA expert will have documentation and he will submit to the regulatory agencies. Then collect your regulatory submission according to applicable regulatory requirements specific to your type of submission. So that is most important thing. We need to go structurally. That is programmed, pre-planned work. Okay, so as per requirement, we need to set up that. Ensure the completeness of the submission and anticipate the resources needed to address questions from agency during submission review. So RA expert will deal with all this documentation part. He will check whether all reports are attached, whether it is a structured way. He will anticipate the resources needed to address questions from agencies during submission review also. For an innovative healthcare product, it is often recommended to have a pre-submission meeting with your agency prior to getting the license. That's most important so that we can go smoothly for regulatory submission. And last step is ensure post-marketing compliance. Once we submit, we can get the approval, we start the manufacturing activities, we launch the product, and in market, post-marketing surveillance, we can say. In market, we check the compliance related with that particular product. Make sure to fulfill all necessary post-marketing obligations. So it is necessary to check whether it is following, whether it is complying all the necessary marketing obligations. The next part is quality management system and regulatory compliance management. QMS, quality management system, it is a collection of business processes focused on achieving quality policy and quality objectives to meet customer requirement. So that is most important thing. We should have a specific objective so that our objective will have specific customer requirement. And the requirement is we have to produce a quality products. It is expressed as organization structure, policies, procedures, processes, and resources need to implement quality management as per regulatory requirement. So that's quality management system. Quality management system and regulatory compliance management. So what type of work is there? Electronic document management, SOP management. So different areas where we are doing management, regulatory submission management. So SOP management in the sense we have different equipments in pharmaceutical industry, we have facilities, and how to operate that particular facility, we have standard operating procedures. So that is a specific system. Regulatory submission management, that means during study from discovery point or from idea to the post-marketing surveillance, within that we have different stages. We have different reports need to be submitted to the regulatory agencies. So that part will be under this ECTD management. E means E common technical document. That is what an online process. We can submit digital copies to the regulatory agencies. CAPA management, corrective action, preventive action management. So here, once if there is anything happen, we need to have corrective action or preventive action to prevent such type of things in future. Corrective action. If something happens, we need to have corrective action. So that is a specific task we need to control. That is under QMS system, change control. So we are doing continuous production in pharmaceutical industry. We are doing research and development work. So change control, it is again a specific part in pharmaceutical industry where any change in process, any change in equipment, any change in procedure, we need to report. That is also deviation management, complaint management, post market. If we got some complaints from customers, in that case, we need to manage that particular. Audit management, learning management and training. So all these are key points where we need to have a quality management system. And because of QMS system, we can get a good quality product. Manufacturing and regulatory compliance. So manufacturing compliance comprises the technical, legal and corporate requirements, regulations and practices manufacturers must comply with in order to produce and market products. So we have different regulatory guidelines, and as per regulatory requirement, that particular plant should follow all that requirement. Compliance should be there so that they can produce and market the product. The risk of non-compliance has become increasingly major concern in recent years. So that is major observation in last some years, particularly for manufacturers with operation in multiple countries and jurisdictions. So that is most important. In last some year, if you see non-compliance, it is major issue. It may be data integrity, it may be related with cleaning, it may be related with facilities and all. Most of major regulators having non-compliance observations in different pharmaceutical plants. This development has been further highlighted by the increasing role of government regulatory bodies in industry sectors, along with emergence of global standards to address the increasing global nature of manufacturing. So we have different regulatory agencies. They are controlling all the things, all the facilities, all the activities carried out in pharmaceutical industries. With respect to marketing and advertising, in most product areas where regulatory requirements are imposed, restrictions are also placed upon the claims which can made for the product on labeling or advertising. So we have different product categories. So as per product category, we need to consider regulatory requirements, regulatory compliance issues. And as per that, we need to go for labeling and advertising products. Regulatory affair will take part in the development of the product marketing concept, and it is usually required to approve packaging and advertising before it is used commercially. So before going commercially, we need to check, we need to approve packaging details, advertising related issues to the regulatory agencies. Then we can go for commercialization. These are some key points. Dossier means what? Generally, it is common word in pharmaceutical industry. Dossier, it is an collection of papers or other sources containing detailed information about particular person or subject. That simply means a dossier. In pharmaceutical, dossier means it is a set of document. It is a set of document which gives detailed information related with specific activity. That is dossier. CTD, ECTD means it is common technical document. ECTD means it is e-form. E means it is a digital copies. That means we don't need to submit hard copies of documents. We can go by online mode. So that is E, common technical document. The NDA, ANDA, INDA, these are new drug application. INDA means investigational new drug application. ANDA, abbreviated new drug application. Drug master file, DMF means. So these are again big concepts. We need to go in detail for the same. Just we'll have look on this different and last part is different regulatory agency all over the world. We have some examples here. That is US FDA, that is for United States of America. In case of European Union, we have EMA. Next one is ICH, International Conference on Harmonization. For Japan, we have MHLW. In case of India, we know that it is CDSCO. In case of UK, we have MHRA. Australia, we have PZA. In case of South Africa, we have MCC. Brazil, for that we have ANVISA. For China, SFDA. For Switzerland, Swiss MEDIC. For Korea, KFDA. For Sri Lanka, MOH. And for Canada, Health Canada. So all over we have different regulatory agencies working for controlling and maintaining the pharmaceutical sector. Okay. Globally, we have WHO also, World Health Organization. Okay, this is all about regulatory agencies.